It's not uncommon when you come into the Humane Society that we have a dog that maybe is covered in mud, maybe its hair is matted, they might have been stray on the streets for a while. So we have plenty of dogs that are always in need of being groomed, and some cats that may also need groomed a little bit too. It's important that we keep these pets as nice looking as possible so they look good for potential adopters and also for health reasons. So we do have a grooming room. It's going to be in the back hallway, the staff and volunteer only hallway. We do have the tub, and we also have some cabinets that are full of any types of soaps or brushes, any kind of grooming tools that you guys may need to groom these dogs. Some of the pets that may need groomed are going to be the adoption-ready cats and dogs. Cats and dogs that are going to be going to clinic for spay and neuter the next day, and any stray cats and dogs that are in poor condition when they arrive at the shelter. In our facility, you are never going to be asked to take a cat into the grooming room and give them a bath. If we have a cat that is in that bad need of being bathed, we're going to have the staff members do it so that we can do it safely. It's too much of a risk for you guys to try and give a cat a bath. Obviously, we know that they do groom themselves pretty well, but obviously cats are not fond of water, so we're not going to put you in that position to be scratched or potentially bit. The requirement for grooming cats is going to be that they must be adoption ready. This is going to mean that they're past their stray hold, their behavior is good, they've been spayed and neutered, and they are fully vaccinated. These particular cats are going to be housed in our adoption areas like cat condos, community cat, kitten playroom, or the adoption hallway. And if they have been spayed or neutered in the last 10 days, you're going to want to avoid their belly and any area that they may have an incision. We don't want to irritate the site as well as pose a possible risk of infection. So avoid all areas. If it's a female, it'll be on their belly. If it's a male, it'll be on their hindquarters. So avoid those areas if they have been spayed or neutered in the last 10 days. On their kennel card, it will say when they are spayed, so you'll be able to go off of that to know for sure how long it's been since their surgery. And also, if there's any cats displaying any signs of illness, go ahead and avoid those cats. We will want to check them out, make sure that it's nothing that's contagious. We want to make sure that it's nothing severe. If so, we'll move them into our isolation area, but we definitely don't want to risk anybody grooming them and potentially spreading germs onto another cat. Grooming the cats is going to be a lot simpler than grooming the dogs. All you're going to need to do is brush them, wipe down their face and body with a warm washcloth or a wet wipe, and they're pretty much done. Most of the cats that we have do groom themselves very well, so you won't really need to groom the cats all too often. Brushing them is great just for enrichment purposes. It keeps them looking their best, and they also really enjoy it. If you do use a warm washcloth on any of the cats, maybe you've been asked to go into paternity and clean up the kittens that get a little bit messy when they're eating. Make sure you place those washcloths in the laundry room after you're done. Don't use the same washcloth on multiple cats. Get a new one with each one. Any combs or brushes you use, place them in the sink area so they can be sanitized. And then always make sure that you're washing your hands with soap and water very well in between touching the next cat. Grooming the dogs is going to be a little bit more complex than, say, grooming the cats. So the most important requirements for grooming dogs is that they must have a green sticker on their kennel card or be housed in the adoption dog kennels. For the same reasons as the cats, we want to make sure that they're fully vaccinated, they are past their stray hold, and their behavior is good. So make sure they have that green sticker or they're housed in adoption dog kennels. Now, if they are housed in adoption dog kennels, there's a good chance that they've been recently spayed or neutered. You have to make sure that it has been a minimum of 10 days since their surgery. Those sutures are dissolvable, so we want to make sure that when they're being bathed in the grooming room, that there are no issues with the incision site. If it is a puppy that you are asked to groom and they are under 6 months of age, you have to carry the puppy to and from the grooming room. You can't let it walk on the floor. And then, of course, if you see any dogs that are displaying signs of illness, we're going to go ahead and skip over them. We're not going to get them groomed, and make sure you let a staff member know which pet it is, as well as what symptoms they are displaying. When you guys are grooming the dogs, we are going to have cabinets full of different types of shampoos and brushes. You guys can look at the dog, see if they have any fleas, if they have dry or itchy skin, and choose a shampoo that's going to be most beneficial to them. On their leash, you're going to hook it to the loop that's on the side of the tub. You want it to be short enough that they can't jump out of the tub, but not so tight that they can't sit down or be comfortable during their bath. When washing their face and ears, just use a washcloth rather than spraying them. That can make them more nervous and uncomfortable, so use a washcloth only. Be sure to rinse them completely so that they don't have any shampoo residue left on their skin. This could cause them to be itchy or have skin sensitivity afterwards if their traces of shampoo are still on them. And then afterwards, make sure you're getting them as dry as possible before returning them to their kennel. And you can leave their towel in the kennel for them to continue laying on and drying off after you've groomed them. When you get done with a dog and return it to its kennel, make sure you are cleaning the tub after each dog. You can use disinfectant wipes to clean the tub, but before you start wiping it down, make sure you rinse out any hair or other organic materials left by the dog so that we're not transferring any germs. Some tips for you guys when you are grooming the dogs is to make sure that you are closing the grooming room door while you're in there. It'll keep the dog less distracted by dogs that are in the hallway or staff or volunteer members that are walking through the hallways. If they should get away from you, they'll be contained in the room and you won't have to worry about them chasing them down through the hallways. Prepare to get wet before you go in there. They're going to be shaking, having a good time in the tub, so your shirt will be soaked by the time you get done grooming all these dogs. Make sure you're grabbing your towels and washcloths before going into the room, and also make sure you have your soaps and brushes picked out as well. If you have everything you need within reach, it's going to make it a lot easier for both you and the pet getting groomed. And then if you see that maybe they're a little nervous about their bath, many of these dogs may have never been groomed in their life. So you can take spray dog cheese in there if we have some on hand, or peanut butter. You can smear it on the side of the tub, and that'll give them a nice treat to distract them while you're grooming them, and it'll make things a lot easier for both of you. The most important thing to remember when you're grooming a pet is your safety is number one priority, not grooming the dog or cat. If at any point they start growling, if you're afraid that they could potentially bite, if they're trying to flee out of the tub and they're being overly fearful, do not attempt to groom that dog. Take them back to their kennel, fill out a pet personality form on them so that we know they do not like being bathed at all. We want safety to be the number one thing on our minds when we're grooming. So do not attempt to groom them if you feel uncomfortable, okay? If they are, growling at you, if they are snapping, anything like that, yell for a staff member. We will come in there and we will get the dog back into its kennel. But whatever you do, do not attempt to risk your safety to get that dog bathed. Every Wednesday that I'm in the shelter, I am going to be making a list of dogs that are on the surgery list for the next day. So these particular dogs, I will write their name and their location on a post-it note and post it on the pre-clinic grooming list that is right outside my door. So the requirements are a little bit different for these particular dogs, but one thing that is the same is puppies under 6 months of age must be carried to and from the grooming room. Make sure they do not touch the floor. We worry a lot about germs, as you guys know, so we want to make sure we're keeping that limited. Another thing that's different about the pre-clinic grooming list is that some of these dogs are not going to have a green sticker on their kennel tag. This will be the only time that you guys are allowed to take a dog out that has no green sticker. These particular dogs, we know their behavior is good and they are fully vaccinated. They simply haven't been spayed or neutered yet, so they're not quite ready for adoption. But you will be allowed to take them out of their kennel, take them to the grooming room, get them cleaned up, and then return them back to their kennel. We want to make sure they're as clean as possible for their surgery. And then after their surgery, it's going to be 10 days before they can be groomed again. So this might be the only time they're able to get groomed before they get adopted. And then after you've finished grooming that dog, grab the Post-it note from the list and place it on my desk. That way I can make a note in their file that they were groomed, and I can also ensure that no other volunteers come in right after you and try grooming the same dog twice. The final thing I'd like you guys to do when you're grooming pets is to make sure you fill out a pet personality form for each one. This will let us know if they like being groomed or if they don't like being groomed, and it's information that we can give their adopter so they have an idea before they take them to a groomer if that's something they wish to do. If you guys have any questions, feel free to email me. My email address is on the following slide. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching.